There we go. All right. So we're gonna be talking about chapter 3 tonight. So did you guys? I again did not come with questions. I wanted to hopefully, have you guys doing more talking than me. So did you guys have any questions? Anything that kind of caught you by surprise with chapter 3?
I wouldn't say it caught me by surprise, but I would say it does make me nervous because I still don't feel confident about the notarial wording. It seems like there's so many variances, and you got to be 100% accurate when you sign something. So that's still, I still feel kind of like.
Well, as far as your notarial certificates go, have you, gotten a chance to look over yours for your state?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I have them in the briefcase. I have them. But that was a question I had was I was looking at buying those stamps. And there's a lot of different ones. Which is the basic ones that you kind of would recommend, or anybody in the group?
Just the two most common notarizations that we know every state does, which is the acknowledgement and jurat.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't say get any other one really, because that's not really, you're going to come across them, but not as often as you're going to do acknowledgments and jurats. So that's my recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah. Now for me, I got the copy certification one because remember I told you guys I came across a person who needed it on their copy and I wasn't able to do it. And I was like, and it was for his residency, for a doctor. Yeah. And I'm like, sorry, I don't have that, but I got this little piece of paper. And so that was the only reason why I got that one. But other than that, just the acknowledgement, you're right, you'll be fine with that.
Thank you.
Now, what about? Yeah, you're welcome. Now, what about like I know I had a notary contact me before regarding the attorney in fact, and she was just kind of concerned about how to have them write it out and which name should go before what and exactly what terminology to use. And so I like how they wrote it out here in the chapter where you can see an example and then you can go back and reference that because you will come across that, where a person is somebody's signing for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to do that attorney in fact. So I think that was really cool to have that example there. And that was a good thing that you mentioned about the notarial wording because every state is different. And you have to remember that you can notarize documents from any state as long as you follow your state's jurisdiction. Because I remember I had someone ask me before, like, well, if a person had a document from another state, why did they have you notarize it? Why didn't they just go to the state and have them notarize it? I'm like, well, because that doesn't really make as much sense as you think it does. Like if a person had a document drawn up in a different state, but they live in a different state, that happens all the time. So it's not going to ever be where you're only going to be notarizing documents that are from your state. But being able to recognize your wording and knowing like, oh, you know what, I got to attach a loose certificate because this doesn't match my state's wording. That's the most important part, and making sure that you change that state. Like some of the certificates I have come across, especially for loan signings that are from out of state, because I get that a lot here, people purchasing properties in a different state and the paperwork being drawn up in that state. Some of the state and counties will be pre-printed on the certificate, and so you have to pay attention to that because you got to line through it and then put your state and put the county that you're in at that time. So I get those a whole lot too. Did you guys notice that story I was talking about is in here? So I got it from here. I was like, I knew I got it from somewhere. I saw the story was in here. They didn't go too much in depth about it, but that is the story that I was telling y'all about the man having a different woman in the room saying it was his wife. Like, yeah, that's my signature. I can't come out right now because I'm not feeling well. Yeah.
I think they did have that on the NNA essentials as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I knew I had it. I seen it somewhere. It wasn't something I made up. I was like, I saw that somewhere. I know I did. I read it somewhere. And you know what is sad? When I was reading the paragraph, failure aids fraud, it's sad that most people who will most likely commit fraud are someone who knows you, who's just like, you know what, that's my friend. They'll do it for me. And I'll just tell them, isn't that sad? It's like, gosh, you're willing to risk my commission. Like I couldn't get that back if I did that. Like you don't realize how much of a pickle you're putting me in.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. That's a nice way to put it, right?
Yeah.
You really want to say something else.
Welcome to family.
Family and friends too. Now, the subscribing witness, that's the part where I had to take out my primer because remember I was saying for the state of Florida, we require 2 credible witnesses. When I forgot that we can use 1 credible witness, but the 1 credible witness has to be known by the notary, I think. So I got my primer.
Yeah, you have to make sure. It has to be known by the notary.
Okay, because
the one. If you're going to use one, that signer has to know the notary. I mean, the witness has to know the notary and the signer, and the signer has to know both. So that's the only way you as the notary can be witness number 2. So the state of Florida requires 2 notaries. I mean, 2 witnesses. If you're going to act as a witness, then the signer has to know both of you, and the witness has to know you too.
Okay, but I didn't understand that part because.
So that's not what I was talking about.
Okay.
That's not the part that I was talking about. I was talking about the credible witness. So if you have a signer who is not able to produce valid identification and they have no access to producing valid identification, you would have to use a credible witness. So you can use 1 credible witness, but let me see. If there is only 1 credible identifying witness to identify the signer, that witness must also be personally known by the notary. So not by the signer, by the notary. This establishes a chain of personal knowledge from the signer to the credible identifying witness to the notary. If there are 2 credible identifying witnesses available to identify the signer, these witnesses need not be personally known to the notary, but must be identified through an acceptable identification document. So the 2 witnesses don't have to know you or the signer, but you have to be able to identify the witnesses. They have to have valid identification. And then if there's only 1 witness available, the witness has to personally be known by the notary, but doesn't necessarily have to be known by the signer.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because I'm like, what's the likelihood of you knowing somebody that knows the signer? So that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to make sure I pulled this out because I wanted to make sure I got it right when I told you guys, especially because I'm recording this and I'm putting it on YouTube. And I want everybody to watch my video like this girl leading these people all in the wrong direction. So that's why I have to take this out. I keep this on me at all times when I have questions to myself like,
yours looks different.
I was just going to say that.
I know.
Like, yours
it
is
does.
like way different.
I bought mine last year when I became commissioned. And I asked what was the difference between this edition and the edition for this year, and they said nothing, just the cover. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I saw that. What does yours say? It says, what edition does it say on top?
20th.
Okay, so mine's is the 20th too. So I don't know. I guess maybe they just changed the cover.
Oh, that's Washington. Okay.
Yeah,
It
but
probably
ours still looks
No, that's
similar
Florida.
though.
yeah, that's weird.
So maybe they just changed the cover,
Mine is
but they're
just
both the
mine's
same
purple.
edition.
See, it's purple with like the
Yeah.
Florida
Yeah.
seal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carolyn's is too. Hers is just like yours, Angelica. So I think maybe they just changed the cover, but they're both the 20th edition, so they have the same information. So, because I was looking like, oh man, I gotta buy a new one for the new year.
How
But
often do
no,
they
so yeah,
update them?
I have
How
no idea.
often do they change them? No.
But you know what? They're gonna update it next year because I don't know if you guys saw, I posted it in the group. A lot of states are changing some of the notary rules come 2022. So most likely we'll all be buying a new primer, you know, then. So oh yeah, so I'm happy that I got a chance to talk to you guys about that because I was like, I was wrong. Let me correct that.
They should have the update in PDF. So if you already have the book, you just download the updates.
Right. But
Can't hear you, Jane. You're on mute.
oh, but if they did that, then how would you put it discreetly in your notary bag?
I think that they do actually do an update, but it's just like something on their site that they send you kind of thing. So it would be more of a hassle to keep in your bag for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, to print out because yeah, because it's only going to be some changes throughout, you know, and so can you imagine you looking here and you saying, oh, that I think that was changed. Let me look at my PDFs, so yeah, I would just rather have the book. I'd just rather buy the book because I like that I can keep this in my bag and it's not it's not heavy, it's not bulky, taking up too much room. I think that was really it that I noticed from this chapter. Like I said, it was really short, so it wasn't really much.
And the only other thing is the hyphenated name, as if it was Jane Smith and hyphen Davis, and the document said Jane Davis. We can do it. That was the only right. It has to. They mentioned about if let's say they were married and got divorced, or they were married and they used their maiden name on the document, but they signed with their married name. They have to sign it how it is on the document, and have ID to show the current name, the name they're signing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I did not see that in the chapter that I read.
Okay.
It probably is not. It's probably in the next chapter.
No, it's on page 32.
Okay.
Page 32.
Page 32.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I think it's talking like of two examples of Mary S. Anderson.
Yeah, but
hold on. I think
it might be in chapter 4.
That was chapter 4. Sorry. Oops.
Carolyn, she's famous. She's jumping ahead.
Yeah, it does sound like chapter 4.
When you read all the chapters, everything just jumbled together. The 52 was the power. The 32 was the power of attorney. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's okay because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump ahead. We're gonna start doing 2 chapters because they're just not. Yeah, from this point on, we're gonna start doing 2 chapters. That way we can get through this book quickly because I really want to get to the next book that I wanted to recommend to you guys.
What's that one?
I know, right?
It's going to be Dr. Claus's Best Practices for Notaries.
Ooh.
That's the book that fills in all the vagueness that all of the states have, where we're having to guess and try to figure out what would be best to do since they're not really giving us a definite on what to do, that book definitely goes over that and fills in those gaps. So I wanted to do that book with you guys next. And I don't have it yet, and I haven't read it yet, so we'll all be reading it first together if you haven't read it already.
You said, what is it called?
Hold on. I'm going to share it. Let me find
Dr.
it.
Clausen. I've heard
And
of
it's
it.
on NNA again. It's on NNA's website again. Share my page with you guys so you can see it. Let's see. I guess supplies are taking me to books. Okay. Here we go. It's under. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back because I want you guys to find it how I'm finding it. So let me go back. Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. What? Yes.
Okay. So I went to nationalnotary.org and I went to supplies right here. And this is going on a computer, guys, because you know everything looks different if you try to go on your cell phone. So don't try to go on your cell phone when you're looking, okay? So when I scroll down here, I go to Notary Books, and it's this one right here in the front. So I'm going to click on Notary Books. And why is not just up front where I can find it? Now I got to scroll through these pages.
Because they got all these bundles.
Here we go. This is it. It's Professor, not Doctor. Professor Clausen's or Closen's, I don't know how you pronounce that. Notary Best Practices, Expert's Guide to Notarization of Documents. This is going to be our next book here. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to share the link in the chat for you. Okay, copy. There you go. So hopefully we can get through this book here quickly. You're welcome. Get through this book quickly so we can move on to the next one. And then I definitely want to do Bill's book. Bill Soroka's book. I have I have that on my Kindle. Soroka's book.
Yeah,
I want to do the LinkedIn book. Yeah, I want to do that one too. I haven't read the LinkedIn book. I read the other book, his first one.
The Sign and Thrive.
Okay. So yes, I read that one first. I didn't read the newest one yet. So guys, good discussion on chapter 3. Did you guys have any questions? Anybody wanted to ask about chapter 3?
I have a question.
I think it was pretty cut and dry with this. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was reading it, and what my confusion is when it comes down to the attorney, in fact, they have to prove that they have that. Like they have to come with their power of attorney, or do we just go off their word?
Nope. They have to prove that to you. You have to be able to verify that they have power of attorney to sign for the principal who is listed in the document.
Okay, thank you.
And then you have to verify them because you're not verifying the principal, you're verifying the person signing because they're the one you're witnessing signature for.
Right. Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. That was a good question.
That was a good question.
Okay. Yes, it was. I have yet to sign for attorney in fact. So when I do come across that, I'm definitely going to be referencing that page. I think I took a picture of it and saved it, just in case, because, when you're approached with something that you don't do on a regular, you just automatically go blank. Like, what? I know I knew how to do that, but let me look. Let me double check. So, yeah. And then especially because I think it was Laura Buer who I was watching one of her lives, and she was talking about you can abbreviate attorney in fact too by doing AIF. So that in the event that you don't have a lot of room to write, they don't need to spell out attorney in fact. They could put they could abbreviate it AIF. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, I like that. Especially if they have a long name and then they have to write out attorney in fact too. It'd just be, oh my goodness, not a lot of room. Okay, so since we are done discussing chapter 3, you guys want to jump to the Kahoot? And I made the times longer.
That's nice.
It wouldn't let me do. I think I was trying to do 40. It was either 30 or 60 seconds. So you guys got 60 seconds. So we got time to read and answer the question. So let me share my screen here. And we're going to do our Kahoot. Oh, let me ask, do you guys have your cell phones? Because remember, you need your cell phone to play.
Yes.
All right, cool. Okay. Let's see. Chapter 3. We're going to play. Okay. All right, there we go. Loading the game pin. So remember, guys, go to kahoot.it and then punch in this game pin. And I will share it in the chat as well. Game pin. Who just came in? Sharon? We're about to do the Kahoot. So if you want to play, just go on your phone, go to kahoot.it, and then type in the game pin that you see on the screen. All right. Is that everybody? Let me know if you're going to be, if you're trying to still get on, guys, because I'm going to push start. I don't want to wait too long because last time you guys were getting kicked off. Okay, that's everybody. Okay, I'm about to start it. All right, personal appearance before the notary is required whenever it is practical for the signer to comply. For notary acts involving only married signers, for every notary act, except when the signer's attorney dictates otherwise. That's a lot of time. Look, now we gotta wait. Remember, it was going too fast before.
There's no good balance there, is there?
I don't even think my answer is going through because the little thing is still circling, like circle, circle, circle.
Mine doing the same thing.
Yeah, mine is still
Well, it
loading.
says
This is
I have
Marion.
6. I have 7 answers now.
Oh, so it doesn't submit the answer, and
I think it's just doing that because we're waiting.
Gotcha. I was like,
right.
Damn my internet.
7 answers.
I had a nickel for every time I said that.
It's for every notary act.
Oh, now I get
So the answer is for every notary act. Okay, next. All right. A phone call can establish personal appearance only when the notary is personally familiar with the signature. If a business relationship with the signer has been established at the time of notarization, but not before and not after, under no circumstances. All right. Under no circumstances. Dang, Key, how you jump all the way down like that?
I don't know what happened.
Notary certificate wording always states that the signer was in the notary's presence. Most often states that the signer was in the notary's presence. Sometimes states that the signer was in the notary's presence. Never states that the signer was in the notary's presence. Now, I wonder why it doesn't just go through after everybody's answered. It's not like you could change the answer or anything.
Computer.
Right. All right. Always states that the signer was in the notary's presence. It always does. It either says on this date before me, a notary public, or it'll say, subscribe and sworn to before me, which is meaning yourself. So it's always going to say that they were in your presence. All right, Angelica. In interpreting laws requiring personal appearance, courts are generally uncompromising, accommodating to notaries who are helping out an employer, strict in upholding a signer's right not to appear before a notary, strict in outlawing all subscribing witness notarizations.
Mine just timed out. Got it.
How to time out? It's still counting.
Said connection lost.
Oh.
What the heck? Okay.
And you know what another thing was that caught me off guard was them calling it a subscribing witness instead of a credible witness. So now I know that they're both used as the same. They're one and the same. So the courts are generally uncompromising. That is notary number one. The signer has always got to be in your presence.
Dang internet.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all fine.
All right. Fraud is facilitated when a notary positively identifies a document signer. A notary signs a certificate without requiring personal appearance. A notary refuses to take an acknowledgement over the telephone. A notary refuses to a familiar signature of an absent signer. Start dancing to the music after a while.
Yeah.
All right, we all got that one right. A notary signs a certificate without requiring personal appearance. That's definitely facilitating fraud because we all know that we cannot do that.
Right.
All right, Angelica's on fire. In most states, a subscribing witness may not be required to appear before the notary, notarize documents in place of a notary, prove before a notary the principal signing of a document, sign as attorney in fact on behalf of an absent principal. Now, I will tell you, this one had tripped me up because, like I said, I had to remember that subscribing witness and credible witness are the same.
I think I messed this one up too.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I was going back and forth between yellow and green, yellow and green. I'm like, it's got to be this one. Yep. So prove before a notary the principal signing of a document. Remember, they are just a credible witness. They are helping to, they are basically signing that this person proved to be who they say they are. The principal may have his or her signature notarized by an attorney in fact, must personally sign all documents in which he or she is named, may take an oath from a subscribing witness, may acknowledge a document before a subscribing witness.
Oh, I'm pushing the button on the computer like a ding dong.
Do you have a touch screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like, why isn't it doing anything? Oh, never mind.
May acknowledge a document before a subscribing witness. That was a
Well, that
tricky
would
one.
trip me up. I got that one
Mhm.
backwards. Let me go over that. Highlight that.
All right. A person who is appointed as attorney in fact may sign documents for the principal, may notarize the principal's signature by recognizing it, may instruct a notary to sign for the principal, may never sign the principal's name on a document.
Oh, I think I got that one wrong because I was looking at another one, but I think I might got that
Uh-oh.
one.
All right. They may sign documents for the principal. That's the whole purpose of the attorney in fact.
I totally blew that one.
Oh,
Can you
last one. If the employer for a notary signs a document and wants his or her signature notarized, employer appearance isn't needed when the notary recognizes the employer's signature, when a client will be lost if the notarization is delayed, if a subscribing witness can prove the signing of the document, if the employer serves as a subscribing witness. Now, this one was tricky, but if you are a notary for your employer, you will come across this a lot. So if a subscribing witness can sign a statement showing that, yeah, I did watch the employer sign this document, then the employer does not have to be present for that. But you have to have that document stating that to cover yourself once you know, for notarizing the document. All righty. That's it. We wrapped up chapter 3 quick today.
Yay!
Let's see. Let's see. Who's number 1? All right, Angelica, you held strong.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, cool, guys.
I was ready this week. I had my iPad.
All right, cool. All right, so we're done with that. We can stop sharing there. Close that out. Okay. So that's it for chapter 3. So like I said, so this week we're going to focus on chapter 4 and 5. Okay, we're going to do both of them. Just knock them out. And then we will meet again on next Tuesday at 7. Hopefully. Now, did you guys get an email? Did you get an email reminder?
I didn't get the Facebook thing that I usually do.
I got the email reminder, but it was 15 minutes before it started.
Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, well, I had put your emails to post for every meeting. So if I got your email on the form, then all of you guys should be getting the email. So I was wondering if something happened to where it wasn't sent. So you guys did actually get it. So okay, that's cool.
I know the first time it went to my junk, so I had to force it not to go to my junk because it came through. It didn't come through with your name. It came through from this app that you're using, the meeting.zoho. So
yeah,
I said it was able to go through.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Is
usually
everybody
get on the Facebook notification thing tells me so.
okay? But you guys are being notified in advance of the meetings.
Yeah, I got the email.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so then 4 and 5. So 4 is identifying the signer, and 5 is determining their willingness and awareness. So that's a few pages, but that's cool. And then we can get to the most exciting part, which is chapter 6, the Journal of Notary Acts. That I like that one a lot because it gets into the journal. And then, yeah. So, all right. So somebody was about to ask a question. Who was that? Before I read the last question.
I was wondering about the in fact on have you ever experienced that, or in what instances would that come into play?
So I have yet to do an attorney in fact, but what an attorney in fact is, if somebody is not to be present and they know that documents need to be signed, they're going to appoint someone temporarily to sign on their behalf. So they have to fill out a power of attorney to do so. And so when you're going to do an attorney in fact signing, you're going to make sure that you confirm that the attorney power of attorney form was filled out and that it was appointing the person in front of you to be able to sign for the person who filled out the power of attorney. So that's the instance you would be using that for.
Okay. So like for example, maybe in like a loan signing, or what type of setting would that be? Or just
Probably.
Any. It will be any. It could be general notary or loan signing.
Okay. Thank you.
I can see it in like a medical kind of situation, like a patient had something happen to them and they were unable to speak for themselves, and they already had a medical attorney. If fact, that'd be valid. for their
Now,
treatment, whatever.
Now, I had signed a power of attorney for someone. It wasn't the attorney in fact. I did the power of attorney for the principal, and it was two people. So one, it was a man. He had property that he needed to sell in Mexico, and he was not going to be able to go there for the signing. So he signed a power of attorney, giving his brother permission to sign on his behalf in Mexico to go ahead and sell the property for him. So that was one. And then another one was a woman had a business in another country, and her father was running the operation for her. And so something needed to be signed by her, and she wasn't going to be able to go. So she did a power of attorney, and she had to do like a statement or something like that. Like, I guess basically when she did the power of attorney to sign, she also needed to write out what it was she needed to be done, like everything she needed to be done. So I had to do an apostle for her too. So I had to notarize the power of attorney, and I had to notarize the letter that she had to write, and it was in a different language. And then I had to submit it for an apostle. And then I got that back for her, and then she was able to mail it off to I forgot the country she was mailing off to. But those were not loan signings. Those were general notary. So in those situations, if anybody is not going to be able to be present to sign a document for themselves, they need to be able to sign that permission over to someone else.
You mentioned it was in a different language.
Yes.
Were you able to read? Well, you
No.
wouldn't have to be able to read, only the person signing it.
Right. So I did not have to interpret or what is it? It is interpret, right? That's the word I'm looking for. It did not have to be translated. That's the word. It did not have to be translated because the document was in the language of the receiving country.
Okay.
And sometimes if the document is translated and then they have to retranslate it when they get there, they could reject it. So we left it in that language. So no, I did not have to. And no, I could not read it. I don't read or speak Spanish. So yeah.
Very cool.
Now, now with those type of documents, you can notarize it, but the notary certificate that you attach has to be in the language that you understand. So the certificate had to be in English. I could not attach a foreign language certificate to her document. So that's how that worked.
So you just attached the certificate to it.
Yes.
Yep. Very good. Learning
All
lots.
right. I know, right? That's what I love about this book. That's why I'm glad we got this. We're doing this book first.
How long does it take for you to get your commission? I've been waiting for a while now.
Really? You know
What?
what? It can take anywhere
already.
It was the worst.
It can take from 4 to 8 weeks. So I think I got mines in. I applied in May. No. I applied in June. I either applied in May or June, and I received my commission July. So I think maybe it took maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe
I did mine in May.
I can't hear you, Carolyn. Oh, there we go.
And you're in Florida, right? So it's
Did
gonna
yours in
take
May?
super long.
Oh, okay.
I applied in March, and I got my commission in May, and my stamps just came yesterday.
Wow.
But they never told me that the reason why I didn't get my stamps was because it was on back order. Like, the only reason why I know it's on back order because it was on the paper that was in my box I got yesterday because I ordered the pink ones.
Oh, wow.
So I got another month to wait, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it took over 2 months.
But I did learn from coming to these Zoom meetings that you can check it on the Secretary of State website, and you'll see. So I knew like 3 weeks in advance that I was commissioned before my certificate arrived in the mail because I saw it online.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you go to find that?
Secretary of State.
Oh, okay.
You go to sunbiz. If you're in Florida, you go to sunbiz.org. You go
Huh?
to sunbiz.org, and then in
Right.
the search, you're gonna type in notary search, and then it's gonna ask you to fill in any of the fields to look it up. Because that's exactly what I did too. I found out that I was commissioned before I actually received the physical certificate.
In Washington, I got an email that said I was commissioned, and then it took another 2-3 weeks for me to get my piece of
Oh
the mail.
goodness. Oh wow. Yeah, it took a while. Like I got commissioned, but then it took like a whole week or two after being
Oh,
listed.
oh, cool.
So you are commissioned.
Are
So
you
you're just waiting for your certificate.
I see the ID number. It got notary ID number, and then it has the commission HH and
Okay.
another number. And the
Yay.
expiration.
Oh, you're commissioned.
That's awesome
Yes.
because I almost missed it because I
Thank
was
you
used to
for that.
looking.
Thank you for letting me know that. Jesus.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. I was used to looking on the website and nothing showing up, but the words up there saying nothing matched the criteria. So I almost missed it. Like I went to click out and I was like, wait a minute, it looked like there was more stuff. And I looked again and I was like, oh,
Hey guys, hold on. Sharon had a question. Sharon, what was your question? How long does it take for SnapDocs to send you one supply? Well, first you got to become SnapDocs verified. That took me like a month almost to even get verified with them. And then after you're verified, then you'll start seeing notifications come through of them showing you signings that are available. But it's not a quick process with SnapDocs. So you just might as well do it and forget it. Do it, forget it. Then one day it's going to say, oh, your SnapDocs verified, and you're going to start seeing signings come through.
Oh,
yay! Go ahead, Carolyn. All right, guys. So
may I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Regarding SnapDocs. For that, because I've been like registering with them, I sent out my credentials, and they keep saying that my my commission is incomplete. So I actually went to the state of Florida. I pulled it from the thing from the state of Florida and I uploaded it, and they keep saying it's not complete. So I called the NNA and and they were saying all my stuff is correct in their system, but I can't reach SnapDocs. I did the chat thing and uploaded the stuff again, like the commission again with I did the certificate, I did everything. So all my stuff is approved, has got went ahead approved, but except the commission thing. So I'm trying to figure out where else would I get it from? Because I pulled it from the state of Florida from the website and I uploaded the whole thing and it keeps saying it's incorrect. And I can't get anybody like on the phone to talk to them because it's.
Do you think that it's does it have anything to do with the dates that you put on there? Did you put the like I forgot how it looks because I haven't been on there in a while, but the expiration date, the issue date and expiration date, did you make sure those were correct?
I did like 3 or 4 times differently. Then someone told me to go to the state of Florida to pull it from that website, and I did. And it's just like now still witnessing, still pending or whatever like that. So I have no idea.
Now sometimes with those platforms, it depends on what browser you use as well. So I forget what platform it was, but it allowed me to upload some stuff, but other stuff I will upload it and it'll say upload it, and then it'll say nothing received. I'm like, what?
I find with Chrome, it works better.
So I had to know for that one, I had to go on Firefox. And that's the only way it will upload the file for me. So maybe try that, Miriam. Maybe try in a different browser to try to upload everything you uploaded and see if that makes a difference. Sometimes you got to play around with the browsers for the different platforms because they're really sensitive, but like that, I don't know why. But I figured it out after I was like getting headache because I was like, I am uploading this. What in the heck is going on? I don't understand. It kept saying my profile was incomplete. I'm like, my profile
Right.
is not.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
finally was like, wait a minute, let me try this. Went on the other browser and everything was complete. I was like, man, I was beating my head against this computer. This is all I had to do. So try
Yeah.
that.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
I've had
welcome.
that happen before too on different things. Yeah.
Sharon, SnapDocs doesn't send you general notary work. They only send you loan signings. Is that what you're asking? He said, sorry to send you notary work. Okay, yeah. Now, what you guys have to understand is there are not any platforms that are going to send you general notary work. The only signing that we consider general notary work is those loan modifications because people can actually just contact you and just say, I got these documents I need to sign so I don't lose my house. So it's just automatically a loan modification, and that is considered general notary. And you would most likely get those through Notary Dash platform with the different companies like Coast to Coast Signings. But you're not going to be able to sign up with a platform that's just going to send you general notary work. That's all on you. You have to market yourself. You have to list yourself on public social platforms where people can see you and know that you offer this service. That's the only way you're going to get general notary. So that's why a lot of people don't like general notary because they have to work too hard to get work. So the only thing you can do is just put yourself out there. Now for loan signings, that's different. You can sign up with a bunch of signing services, and whatever title companies go through the signing services, you're going to just see those come through. But for general notary, don't even, no, it's not going to happen. You like they have directories you can list yourself on, but if you're not the preferred notary, chances of you getting a lot of work from them are just very slim.
Oh, you froze.
You're frozen.
Our leader is frozen.
How long, Jane, have you been a notary?
Not really very long. I got my commission in, I think, it was a few months ago. And I really haven't done much because I've been kind of doing all these little classes and stuff and reading. I'm a little scared, honestly, like getting out there. But I've got someone working on a website for me because I was told that the general notary work is really, that's where they find you. Got my business cards pretty close to done.
Are you doing loan signings or Ron?
Yeah, I just got finished up, I think in June with my loan signing agent, commission, and I did the Notary to Pro with Carol, and I really like her. And today I just signed up for Notary Stars. It was a little pricey, so I was a little scared, but it looks like they really give you some good information. And they've got an offer this month of half off a month.
What is that, Notary Stars?
Notary Stars. And it's, they're more like live kind of teaching things, but they also have like over 100 hours of recorded things as well. So, but I was interested that they have a special going on. So I was like, well, that's cool. I'll try it out. If I don't like it, I quit. But I can at least get some information because I feel like, like there's a lot of weight, with this as well. You don't want to mess up. So.
Have you tried any general notary, anything yet or no?